Heyo everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I will be showing you guys how I do my shading for my art stuff. So, just in case you guys were curious, this is how I do it. I thought I'd share it because it's a really fast and easy way to shade, and it also, in my opinion, looks really good. And if you're someone who's like me, who doesn't really enjoy the processes of coloring or precisely shading and having to get it all correct, then this is the shading method for you, because personally, before I didn't like shading, but now with this new method that I've been using for a while, I actually enjoy shading and find it really satisfying. So, to give you some examples of how this works, here are some art pieces that I have where I use this shading method. There's a Steven Universe art piece that I did. Then there's this Fergus, the psychic dragon that I did. Then there's these two dragons, and as well as the background. So you can do it cartoony like these three drawings, or you can also do it more realistically like this Ogopogo and this abandoned attic drawing that I did. So it works both ways. You can use this method for cartoony drawing, and you can use this method for detailed, realistic sort of drawings. It's really up to you. Either way, it's up to you. It still works both ways, and it's still quick and easy both ways. Though, of course, since the realistic drawings do have more detail, it is going to be just a little bit longer to shade for realistic drawings. Let's just get into the tutorial. So here I have Photoshop set up, and this is a drawing of Charizard that I was doing just for fun. It's a quick little drawing I whipped up. I never put too much detail into it. And I drew Charizard because Charizard's my favorite Pokemon. And so yeah, so what you're going to want to do is create a clipping layer above your base color layer, as you can see on the right. And what I normally do is choose a really dark color. The colors that you choose for shading depends on what kind of light you have. So if you have a warm light, like I will in this drawing, then you're gonna want a cool color for your shading. If you have a cool colored light, then you're gonna want a warm color for your shading. So for this Charizard drawing, I chose like an indigo color and a really dark one. So you're going to put a clipping mask on that layer right there above the base colors, and you're going to color in the entire base color with blue. So then when you zoom in, you're going to see that maybe there's some gaps you missed. So this is a good way to also fix your drawing, your base colors. It's a good way to double check. Even if you don't use it for shading, you can still double check to see if your art is having some gaps or mistakes, because the clipping layer will cover up all your base layer colors and reveal if you left a gap in your base colors or if you went over the lines with your base colors. So after you're done fixing up the colors, I kind of just made it. I never went and fixed up everything exactly because, like I said, this is just a quick little drawing that I wanted to do to show you guys how to do this. So once you're done that, you're going to put your clipping layer opacity down. Now it's translucent and you can see the colors underneath. It's not all just dark blue now. You can see the different hues and stuff. So then after that, what you're going to do is erase away everywhere where there's going to be highlights and lighting. So instead of drawing in the shadows meticulously, you just erase away the shadows. And I find this a lot easier because you don't have to be as precise. And also, the eraser creates a nice little painting effect. I used to draw my shading with airbrushes, and I'll show you some drawings here of drawings where I shaded them with airbrushes. So I used to do it that way. And it took me forever because airbrushing, you have to make sure not to make streaks because it will look bad and dirty. And you also just want to make it clean and precise. And it's hard to make airbrushing precise when you're shading because you're going to overlap on it and stuff. But when you're shading with this clipping layer method and you're just erasing away the shade that is already there, you don't have to be as precise, and the erasing, you can do whatever brush you want. I either use watercolor brushes or just even the standard eraser with the soft edges. You can use whatever brush you want, but when you erase with this method, it looks like a digital painting. It looks, the textures makes it look soft, and you can really see the nice transition between the highlight colors and the shading. And what's more is that it's a lot easier to fix too than the method of actually having to draw in the shading, because all you have to do is, as you can see me do here, is raise the opacity on your clipping layer again, and eyedrop the color, lower your drawing pen's opacity, and do the exact same thing that you were doing with the eraser, but this time drawing in the shading a little bit just to fix those little tiny mistakes. Whereas when you're shading with airbrushes, at least when I was shading with airbrushes, it was making it a lot harder to fix, because if I couldn't just erase it, because then it would leave streaks on the rest of the shading, so I would have to erase that whole section of shading and start over again, or just deal with the mistake, know it's there, and move on. And it took a really long time to shade like that, but with this method, it's really fast, and you can do a lot of cool things with it. Now, this isn't a really good example of good art with this. It still looks neat, I find, for a quick drawing. But again, if you want to see better examples, just look at the drawings I did at the beginning of the video. Those were all done using the exact same method, but I was kind of rushing this drawing for this video. And if you want to do a more realistic and more detailed version, like I did with the Ogopogo, it's, again, the exact same thing. It seems like it would be harder to do it realistically, but no, I just did the same thing that I did here for my Ogopogo. And for backgrounds though, I would suggest doing multiple layers with multiple clipping layers on multiple different objects, just so you don't mess up the layers when you are drawing in new stuff. Like, you don't want to put shading on for one object over another object and stuff like that. It just helps clean it up and make it not overlap with each other. So finally, when you're done with that, as you saw me do earlier, you'll just want to click on the blending modes for your clipping layer and change the color of whatever blending mode you want. I normally use linear burn or color burn. I find those make really nice colors. All it does is changes the way your clipping layer looks on your drawing. Right here on my Charizard, I made the clipping layer invisible for a second so I can show you a different shading method, where instead of coloring the entire thing in and then erasing parts of it, we're gonna leave the whole clipping layer colored without erasing anything. And instead, we're going to do a bunch of different colors. So for this Charizard, I chose yellow for a highlight color coming from the sunlight, and then a bunch of shades of blue for the shading. And when you look at it, when it's complete and the opacity is lowered, it looks like there's a building shadow going over Charizard, and it gives it a more sort of dynamic and dramatic looking lighting that you would see. Well, I mean, I typically see this kind of lighting in anime and sunset scenes, stuff like that. So that's another option you can do. And there's a bunch more things that you can do with this, but I'm not going to go over all of them right now. But just know that shading the way that I showed you isn't the only thing that you can do with this shading method. You can also do the exact same thing, but for opposite. So instead of shading, you can use the same clipping method to do the highlights on the character, to do rim lighting, and all that stuff. It's the same thing. But of course, that's just an option for you guys. I'm not saying you have to shade like this. There are plenty of ways to shade that don't involve clipping layers, and it's up to personal preference. For me, I personally prefer this clipping layer method because, like I've been saying this whole time, I find it quick and easy and satisfying to complete. It gives me a sense of satisfaction always erasing bits of the shading, and I find the end product looks really nice. But of course, some of you might like the airbrushing method that I was talking about, and that's perfectly okay. Those airbrushing drawings can look really cool too. Even though, for me, in my personal experience, it's harder to shade that way, it still ends up looking really nice and really clean when done correctly. For me, it reminds me of Disney movies and stuff. Like when you look at the box art of Disney films, it looks like that they airbrushed their drawings. So that's what I was sort of going for before when I was airbrushing my shading. And just stuff like that. So there's plenty of ways to shade. It's really up to you as an artist to choose whichever way you like. But this is just another option and tutorial I was giving to show you guys my way of doing it. And hopefully this way helps you with your drawings, or helps you understand how to do it more, or anything like that. I first discovered this method when I was going through Pinterest, and I saw people with their drawings and they showed the clipping layer on, and it just sort of snapped with me. And I think they're showing like different tutorials and stuff on Pinterest, and I tried it once. This is my first drawing, trying the clipping layer method, and instantly, I loved it, and I kept going with it and experimenting with it, and this is my latest drawing with the clipping method, and yeah, I really like how this works. I find it always looks really nice, and the shading's always like really gradient and just really soft, and I like that. It seems to me to be more natural. But that's just my opinion. You may have a different opinion, but that's okay. Every artist has their own way of doing things, and that's perfectly fine. And even I encourage it, because with every artist with their own style, it creates a more beautiful world with plenty of diversity in arts and styles, and it's really nice to see everybody's different style. But that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, please like this video, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or any other tutorials you would like me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know. Also, please do let me know what you think of this tutorial video. I don't normally do tutorials all that often, but I would like to help you guys if you guys want any more tutorials like this. So let me know, was this tutorial helpful, or was it completely unhelpful and am I terrible at describing how to do things? I don't know, but you guys gotta let me know. I don't want to show you guys content you guys don't want to see. So yeah, if you're new to my channel, please feel free to check out my other videos. I do animations, I do speed paints, and I do more. And if you really like what you see, please do feel free to subscribe and ring a ding ding that notification bell below to get notifications for when I release new videos. I hope you all enjoyed this video and have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.